completely freaked out. Completely freaked out. I don't, and only our old friend Phil Flynn can help me. It's the only guy alive who can actually explain this to me. And we always rely on Phil. Whenever there's an energy problem in the world of America, we call on Phil because he's the, not only did he used to trade these energy things, and maybe you still do, Phil, I don't know, but I know I see you more on TV now than, as a reporter and analyst. And I got to tell you something. This story, and it's a front page of both papers today, by the way, just really scaring the hell out of me, that if you live in the city, or you're a ComEd customer, or you're any kind of customer, or a ComEd customer anywhere, essentially, your rates are going to go up on average 21% starting June 1. Why didn't they tell us this before, Phil?
They did tell you.
When?
You just weren't paying attention.
Oh,
When they started talking about, hey, we want clean air and we're going to start reducing greenhouse gas emissions and we're going to shut down all the coal plants. If you read between the lines, they were telling you for some time it's going to cost you more money down the road. So anybody who was paying attention knew that this day was coming. But because of the cold winter we had, it came a lot faster than some people thought.
All right, I quit, Phil.
I know.
I
ready.
quit America. All right, so okay. So explain exactly what the mechanism is here.
Well, but part of the problem here that we have this year is that people took energy for granted once again. There was this assumption because the United States was the biggest natural gas producer in the entire universe that we would have cheap or natural gas fired plants, and we could shut down all the coal plants, have a cleaner environment, use wind farms, and our prices would be low and everybody would live happily ever after. But what we found out is Mother Nature had something else in mind. We had one of the coldest winters we've had in 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
We went through our natural gas inventories unlike anything we've ever done in history. And instead of having a record supply of natural gas, our supplies are the lowest in about 15 years. And, usually when the price of natural gas starts to go up, we flip to coal. But we can't do that anymore because the coal plants are gone.
That's right. They are. I had them all personally closed.
There you go. But it's funny. I mean, you just think since 2008, we've closed almost 300 coal plants. 300.
Okay, so incredible. What do we do? All right, so the natural gas, and this is an interesting thing, and we'll get to the other some of the other reasons for this. But the natural gas thing, we're the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, are we not, Phil?
We are. We should be driving Rolls Royces, and we should, be doing the whole thing just like the Saudis do.
And one of the concerns about this is that there's a little bit of a slowdown or some impediments now arising to the fracking technology, which is basically how they're getting the natural gas out of the ground.
It is, and there's a lot of concern, of course, what it's doing to the environment. They're worried about, what it can do to groundwater, what it can create earthquakes. These are some of the fears. I think some of them are overplayed quite a bit, but that's the fear right now. But part of the problem is that while we're producing more natural gas, we haven't taken the time to build the infrastructure to get it to where it needs to be. And there's certain parts of the country that are using probably 3 or 4 times natural gas than they did just a few years ago, but yet the pipelines can't get it there. So there's some growing pains of being more efficient. And in some parts of the country, they're paying 100 times what they were paying a few years ago for natural gas. In other parts of the country, they're burning it off because they have an oversupply.
All right, Phil, also wanted to ask you about the fine prices. We're still leading the nation. I believe I went to fill my tank up at a downtown gas station today, and I went in. They usually have the ATM. They also had a Chase Banker there if you wanted to take a second mortgage out to pay for it. I think it was $4.88 for the good stuff. Right close to the $5 mark
shelf.
there. Yeah, top shelf stuff.
I think what you're going to have to do is put Bitcoin into there because it's the only way you're going to be able to afford it. No, I mean it is crazy. I mean the gasoline prices in Chicago are madness, and the Chicago blends always keep us higher. Our taxes are the highest in the nation. But the entire nation's been going through this price spike. We've seen the price of oil spike up recently because of concerns with Russia and the Ukraine. And
Nigeria is not helping this either, by the way.
Pardon me?
Nigeria is not going to help us either.
No, Nigeria is not going to help us. And that situation, of course, they've not been a reliable supplier in recent years. to say the least. But the increased tensions there do drive up the cost of gas. But the good news is we are seeing signs in the futures market that we are starting the top. So maybe once we get towards Memorial Day, we're closer to the top of price than the bottom. So we should be getting close to that final top before the holiday, and then we should start working down, barring, World War III.
But in Chicago, at the celebrity gas stations, the fancy gas will go for over $5 a gallon.
Right. I hang out there every.
I know. I sometimes see you doing lunch out there. Yeah. The funny thing about this though is that we have, again, I want to go back to this. We have this incredible abundance. It's a great irony. We have an incredible abundance. We have trouble getting it out of the ground. The fracking thing, I got to say that, the fracking industry had done a very good job of selling the safety of it. And perhaps it is safe. They've run into some huge PR glitches this year, though, because you did have an earthquake where one never should have occurred.
Right.
And you do have the water supply issue is a very scary one for these states, and even in conservative states that would normally be very, very much in favor of energy exploration and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, if you're getting into the point where you're going to create you're going to poison the well, literally.
Right.
There are some real concerns. Is the fracking industry responding to this?
I think they are, and some of the issues that with the groundwater has been a little bit hyped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once the evidence gets out, you're going to find that the earthquake situation, they're still questionable. The biggest concern that I think is scaring a lot of people right now are these train car explosions.
Yeah.
And what's happening?
Because when it goes, it goes.
Yeah, because the oil that they're bringing out of the ground is purer than Texas tea, better than the stuff that old Jed was getting out of the ground. This is the most pure oil the world has ever seen. In fact, it almost comes out of the ground ready to put in your gas tank.
Yeah, we're really good. We had the best dinosaurs.
We do.
We did have the best dinosaurs here.
They are major rock stars when it comes to it. And what's weird is because what we found out is that this oil, when it got stuck into the rocks, wasn't contaminated by the ground or the sulfur or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost can take it right out of the ground and put it in your gas tank. You just have to tweak it a little bit. And it's kind of interesting. Here in Chicago, we spent a whole bunch of money to try to say, hey, let's refine these cheaper, crummier blends of crude so we could buy cheap crude. Well, now we're finding out that the cheap crude could be this high quality stuff. And that's the next big change coming. Some of these big refineries are going to change. We're not going to need these big refineries. Are going to be a lot more efficient and spit out a lot more product with a lot less headache.
Okay, and very quickly, the price is obviously going up for the summer here for ComEd for electricity. Will they recede? Will there be stasis here? Will there be enough supply in the natural gas, which is all these energy sources counterbalance each other as we head toward the winter, or do you expect this to be a 1-year cycle?
I think it's going to be a couple-year cycle.
Ooh.
It's going to take some time to get the infrastructure caught up, and we've had some major infrastructure upgrades, but it's not going to go down anytime soon. The long-term future looks good. Short-term, it's going to be pretty pricey.
Oh, Phil. Why are you doing this? It's such a beautiful day outside, Phil. Oh, God, I turned on my air conditioning unit. As I explained earlier, it's like you're walking into a Best Buy when you walk into my house. There's TV screens everywhere. I have 4 or 5 different washing machines just on display, to keep things clean. I have 4 refrigerators. I mean, it's like, and I'm like a ComEd. I should have a ComEd Gold card. I should, yet. And yet, when they write me, when they send me my bill, instead of saying thank you, they lecture me about it. And I don't want to be lectured by the guys who are selling me the stuff.
I know. I feel guilty too. It's like, how many businesses complain when you buy too much? Hey,
I know.
You bought too much.
Yeah, stop using our product.
I know.
You guys are in the 50 items or more aisle.
That's what we're doing.
Jeez.
Oh, Phil, thank you very much. Always great.
Bye,
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Phil Flynn. You can see him on Fox Business Network all the time. Great analyst.